Amazing grace, how sweet the sound, the sound.
Father, I want to recognize Mrs. Peace Kindieva and family, very close to Col.Edith Nakalema's family. Then, Col.Edith Nakalema was the pioneer group Intake 1 for the National Defense College. And I think her Intake team is here. They can stand for recognition. I think they laid their wreath, but they can stand. If they didn't, they can come and lay their wreath. Broadcaster Alan Kasuja, are you here? You can stand for recognition.
Was blind, but now I see. Though many did just words unsaid, we
I received some messages also from Justice Simon Garukama, Electoral Commission, and also Justice now, I think is the Deputy Chief Justice, Flavian Zasia.
The church leaders, bishops, clergy, and all church leaders. The family of Rev.Eliasaph Serwadda, all dignitaries, abeshemwe, n'abantu mwene kama simu. Nyiraga mbugambo kute abugwire nira twena bali akabira twena kugana okwa twena kusibira twena kuyimetega hakano konka. That's how life is. So I'll say a few words on behalf of my sister and friend Nakalema. And so I'm privileged to speak on her behalf. I'll just use interchangeable languages. I want to give testimony of the man lying in the casket, the body of the man lying in the casket, because the man is with us right now. And these are just a few words I wrote down. That a life well lived leaves behind a living testimony. The testimony of Rev.Eliasaph Serwadda cannot be wiped away by an event like this. 2, a life well lived ends this side of eternity with thanksgiving, like the one we are having right now, and a celebration in heaven as the saints and angels receive him. I could just imagine on that day, at that hour, when Rev.Eliasaph Serwadda crossed from this side of eternity to join Jesus in heaven. There must have been a big one. And as we entered this compound this morning, I really felt like that this was not a funeral. This was a thanksgiving. 3, a life well lived leaves behind a legacy, an inheritance for his children. The footprint of this gentleman is so large. And because we do not focus on death as if that is the end, we focus on life. I want to thank Edith for choosing us, because you choose friends. Family, you have no choice, you are born. But for choosing us as your friends, for choosing to stand with us and believe in us. We have fought several wars together. I am not a soldier, the soldiers here will speak. But some of us, you have allowed us to learn what it is to fight, and we want to thank you so much for that. I want to thank you also for being a light in this nation. That oftentimes life comes against you and to put you down. And I have seen the dark nights of the soul when you have cried and said, help me pray. And I want to assure you Ruhango wa Pragzom Biria. May God bless you.
Your Excellency, the Vice President, Mama Migress n'abaana bawe, ekanisa n'abantu bakuru mwenu mubitiinisa byanyu, amazina ndi Musinguzi John Ruroki, omukulu nange ndi omwana. I first came to know the late Reverend and Mama Migress in the early 80s. Daniel here mentioned the time when Reverend was heading the biogas project at the diocese headquarters. At that time, my late father was also the diocesan secretary. So I used to see Auntie here and Reverend on that hill of Urharo where Bishop Sheridan now is as the bishop. But much later in life, in the late 90s, I think 98 to be precise, I met Edith again, now in the fellowship circle. His Excellency the President had given me an assignment to look for young Christian, God-fearing children. And when I went to Calvary on that mission, I met Bishop Onesimus and the late Reverend Moses. They are the ones who connected me with Edith and many other young people. And from that time, we have walked this life journey together with those young people that you connected me with, but also with their parents. That is when I reconnected with Reverend and Mama Migress, and they became my parents. So what brings us here today, Edith, as your friends, as the children of the Reverend, is to assure you that you are not alone in this loss. Those of us who knew Reverend and Mama, we are so heartbroken. But I want to assure you, as Alan has just said, God will see you through this. My father passed on 10 years ago. Very similar circumstances like this. No sickness, no farewell, no nothing. It is so heartbreaking. And I know, or I can imagine what you're going through. He was also 76. At the prime of life, when we are eager to say thank you and tell them how much we love them, then they go suddenly. But may the Lord strengthen you. Concentrate on Mama now. Tell her every morning that you love her, and God will give you the strength. I don't want to take a lot of time. I thank you, Edith, as the firstborn of Reverend, as the photocopy of Reverend, all the good things that people will say about Reverend. Those of you who didn't know him, see the children, see Edith, see Jennifer, see Dorothy, see Dan, see Isaac. Mama yenda kusima okuzaala abantu balungi kandi mukabakunda mukabeereka mukabakora obuhembe abaana ab'omuzaalira ihangana obuhembe ekyokureebera president ow'ekitiinisa president kandi okiza abantu baingi obwenge omu Uganda n'amanya obwenge bwa Ipso obwa Kamwesi. I want to thank Mzee because he has made Edith who she is, and he has made all of us who we are. He identifies people and he tasks them accordingly. Thank you, Edith, for not betraying. From the time we met in 97 to this day, if there is one person I can testify, Your Excellency the Vice President, as an upright citizen who hates corruption, who puts in her best in fighting for the liberation of our people, it is Col.Edith Nakalema. Thank you for making her who she is. Thank you, Isaac. Isaac is the young brother. We now work together in URA, but he's exactly like Edith. He's still a young man growing up. We are here to comfort you, Isaac. May the Lord comfort you. Thank you, Jimmy. Jimmy marries Edith, but it is as if they were born together. Thank you, Colonel Jimmy, for all that you do. I greatly appreciate it. I work with these two people, and they are so important to me. I don't don't want to say a lot, Edith and the entire family. Mama, twenda twashasha, twende tumetrekire, otsasa okuburaho. Ewe katuza muri yakashishe wanongamira konka mwenda ntanga kwatse ngume mshera sumu mkumurzi. I will miss the prayer of my father here who is lying in rest. Kwa wenda kutera sumu kusiba. And one of the rare gifts that Reverend has, maybe let me see, he was so grateful. Even on small things. There is a day I moved with him from Rukunjiri. We came and rested in Mbarara and had lunch. We did some little shopping and I dropped him in this house. But he would talk about it as if it was such a big thing. Even when Edith was grieving, he reminded me that he was still asking about you and the time you brought him well. A very grateful, very humble servant of God. If anyone knew Reverend, what can define him is that he was so selfless, so humble, so satisfied, and so committed to his Lord. Reverend, may the Lord give you eternal rest. We can only find you there. You cannot come back to us. Maybe one day, if we walk in your footsteps, we will find you there. I want to encourage the Barokore who are here. The Lord is everything. I don't think there is anything that Reverend lacked. Yet his only riches, his only wealth was knowing the Lord. And that's why his theme was Yesu na Amara. Reverend na Mama, theme ya mzee. Thank you all distinguished Ugandans who believe in that Jesus alone is enough for us. I thank my wife and my sister. Others who have not come, Edith, they've sent you messages of love, they've sent messages of money. I'll give them to you. But we have all lost a father. May his soul rest in eternal peace. Thank you, all friends, for standing with this family. God bless you.
Mkaikuru Mitresi, Meka Yawe, Your Excellency, the Vice President, Ministers, Generals of the Army, Church, protocol observed. Forgive me, I'm not following protocol as it should, because death also does not observe protocol. I have known Nakalema 3/4 of my life. I have known Asizwa half my life. Now, I'll talk about the gifts of Nakalema that I know and the linkage. We are Nimanya Nakalema, truthful and dangerously truthful. Yes. Ekitonche kya kabiri n'okweteisa. Okweteisa bakweta kimu. Repentance, to the extent that when his father corrected him, he went and reported the father to the clergy. Omubulizi Serwadda agwire na ntera. So she reported the father because the father had told them to be transparent. When they are annoyed, they go and talk. So she went and reported to the clergy, not knowing that the father was doing his job. Okora Obutesasra. She works until she's about to collapse, fighting for the common good. I think most of you have seen. Grab this one, grabs the other one, fighting for the common good. Obfra. Then Nakalema also represents you, the clergy. For some of us who do not know how to pray very well. So she prays whenever I've had a function and the reverend is not there. It is either Nakalema or Musinguzi. Namanya does not qualify. Namanya is like me, he's a sinner like me. Nakalema is very giving. The little she has, she will push it in your pocket, even when you are earning much better than her. Now, in our language, we have a saying, Mwenkoni ejerobutemo. A stick that we normally move with is cut from some form of bush that it resembles. So you can see when you talk about Mzee Serwadda, these are the fruits that he planted in his people, in the family. We are talking about the Nakalema because she's the one we know most. Us, because we are representing the friends, but it cuts across even for those that we have known later, like Tayewa, like Isaac, and Edith, and the sisters. So we attribute all these gifts to the parents, the Kale and Serwadda. Later on, when we knew them, and whenever we pass here, we would really see where they come from. Now, Msima Rahanga, we thank God for Rev. Serwadda. In addition to nurturing good children and indirectly contributing to the national advancement, because his children are helping the common good.
Mkayitu ya mnywangu witu yimuseka yitu abo kuwisheho kandi kintu cyabera kunda munonga akakunda umuyonjo akaje umuyonjo bwe cyabera kwa tol yashangwe umurufa apitatinga washakuye akaje umushija murungi ekayitu ekate etine dini ekerinche address yatu ihayo Serwadda yatu ihayo twabamanya dini echo chona ni kimusimira okumanyagu mwenyo ayo akawumbi tubiri ebyatutiremu yaba muramu wanje kandi we yagataka akanyemerera ko musire wanje kandi cyakabiri aberandeze twirisa chamani nkomuramu na musima munonga eyo abandi bahona ati niyenda obo mukura omukobwa tire cyabakora ntire yisa weni mukunda munonga ndebe shanu zigenda tibiza kumugamba w'umunonga ebona mugamba w'ibintu bimara rahanga mu cyumuro cyo
Serwadda kakoze konoye nabwe ni dagara bazenye bake abari kugira ngo babura school fees abana omukuru Nakalema sasa ndabeje Serwadda ndi nyuto mukuru niwe yabirashime bana abari school fees abana onga habo kujunwa no kose konoye no kuna bana be school fees abana zirabuze nayo bari Serwadda akakora ibyo bashinja bakora yakore n'ubunye musomo yakunda abantu yakse bunako izo lya kayata Serwadda yenda kunipendera nikakana tangaza kuzika kwa katano akafungwa mukaga muri kwibeleki kwa katano mwatumendesha azachitumweze kuzitsa umuntu nabwo nyina bipasi bikinati nataza ukashomara abana bigiye tubafire bako tunga y'utima yibe tunanye cooperative tumura akajya tumura bakansibura bambe kuyaberisha nibwo montebe akari mu ndokunda kuyabura abantu bakwato cyo nitera mu bantu bacyabiya kwaza mu kifananyiro yakwato mu kifa yanamutya na montebe yashitama yakande kuri kansi hanga Serwadda akoreza ikivugo kirungi abagero mu yakoze umusomo bye
Odga murimbarra ninga notekateka kwijo murimbarra abaling suits beno buraro bwamani munonga kandi benene bitanda birungi tibakakoma buraro benene bala nungi bozirime cyo kumye cyaburi muringo bene na hotelo halimu emere yaciraguju nangwa n'ekijungu kandi orende emere yo kutwaro waba baling suits naco barachikora eco mujungu ari kweta ngo ni take away bene na sauna na steam ogesro na massage basa kubura bayicira kugira ngo bakoboherezobwe parking yabo ne yamani munonga kandi nimpango ebyo kwerinda byabo biri guruguru munonga kandi aba links youth barashango mu rurembo rwambara omuri Katete waruga parking ya bodaboda ya St Mary's uri kwenda kubukinga urabasa kurabera namba ze smeji 079 kaga na mwenda kandi urabasa kugamba na director wa links youth uri kurabera namba ze smeji 0 kaga nemwe 5595 ogesirone ya 0 kaga nemwe 5595 twena katurukangira links youth kugira ngo tutungo buhereza burungi.